Hello there, I'm Lloyd Evans. Welcome to The Bunker. It's time for another voicemail. Today's voicemail is from an anonymous caller. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Hey, Lloyd. Giving you a call back because you asked me to. I was the one that called about the question on space colonization, if Jehovah's Witnesses theology will survive that. Really good points you brought out there. I had thought of those myself, too. I just thought it was a question worth asking. And I read some of the comments. The people seem like they really like that question. So good for you and your show there. Anyway, you had asked me to kind of relate my story and why I'm still an elder and if I have a plan to leave and, if I want to ask for some advice. And so I'll answer the last part of that. I do want to ask for some advice. If you have some advice I haven't thought of, I'm trying to be very strategic in this whole process, but my plan is to, get right financially. Because Jehovah's Witnesses, a lot of us are in poor straits financially. We've been told to forego secular education and, having a high-paying job. And so, a lot of us are in debt to our eyeballs. So I got to get right financially. And then I'm thinking, I'll find a job somewhere in another state. I live in the States and, just kind of fade from there with my family. Now, that's my plan. So if you have any pointers for me, I appreciate that. But I suppose you're going to want to know a little bit about me. So here's my story. My wife's parents are all PIMI. My wife is also, although I do see a glimmer of hope with her. She doesn't see why we can't have tattoos, and she wants to get a tattoo, and she doesn't agree with the policies on CSA. I've kind of opened up to her about those policies. Being an elder, I kind of know what goes on. Thankfully, I actually live in a state where it's mandatory to report. What I don't agree with is the fact that we have to wait to be told to report, which is stupid, if you ask me. If I ever come across it, now that I'm awake, I'm going to report it right away. But thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that. Anyway, so there's a glimmer of hope with her. I have 3 kids, 9, 6, and 3. So the 9-year-old's getting close to where, the governing body wants them baptized. And, I told my son, you can't get baptized. You're not ready. You're not ready to make that decision. And, I stand by that. As far as my family goes, I have a sister and I have a mother and father. They're both in, I was going to say in the truth, quote unquote. And my mom, I actually feel kind of bad about that because my mom was out for 15 years and I was faithful to the organization and I shunned my mom for 15 years. And I was really happy when she came back, and the brothers were telling me, hey, it's because of your good example that she came back. And I felt good about that at that time, but now I feel like crap about that. I feel awful about that. And because I was used as a weapon, as a tool for emotional abuse against my mother. And that makes me feel awful. Anyway, I know this is a long message, Lloyd. I apologize. But that's my story. If you have any pointers for me, if you think I have a good plan, or if you would tweak it a little bit, please let me know. Thanks. Bye.
Well, thank you so much for calling back. So if viewers are interested, our friend here called in previously and left voicemail number 60. Thumbnail here, if Tibor is gracious. Will Jehovah's Witness theology survive future colonization of space? And I suggested, if possible, that he call back and share more about his predicament, given the fact that he mentioned that he was a physically in, mentally out PIMO elder. I seem to get a few voicemails from from elders, which says a lot, really, when you think about it. And so this gentleman has very kindly obliged and shared a bit more. And you ask whether I have any input, any suggestions, any tweaks to your plan. Well, obviously, I would have liked to have heard you say that you have, what was it, a strategic plan. And it sounds like that's exactly what you have. So you're planning to get right financially, and you're planning to, move to another state and begin a fade. I guess my concerns are that there are quite a few obstacles in your way, which you haven't really gone into there, but it seems that your wife is still believing. I know you say that you've managed to get her to open up about tattoos, and you've also, you say, opened up about child sexual abuse. So you've had some conversations, it sounds like, that the organization would not like and wouldn't approve of. But there's obviously more to, quote unquote, open up about than just the child sexual abuse. I say just the child sexual abuse. Clearly, that's damning as it is. Don't get me wrong. But, I'm sure lots of Jehovah's Witnesses are sort of aware that there's a problem in that area. But because they're so heavily indoctrinated, they find all the reasons in the world to tolerate it. And so I can imagine someone having a problem with the child sexual abuse mishandling and going to their grave as a believing Jehovah's Witness. It doesn't really tell me anything about the potential for your wife waking up that she has a problem in that area, or that she would like to get a tattoo. Again, I can imagine a Jehovah's Witness going to their grave, wanting to have a tattoo and thinking there's something wrong with child sexual abuse, but because they believe Armageddon's coming, because they believe it's God's one and only true organization, they bite their lip and they just get on with it. So I wonder to what extent there's actually a bigger problem there than you're letting on. And by the way, you've already shared a lot, and I'm certainly not expecting you to share more. I'm just acknowledging the fact that, this situation seems or sounds like it could be very complicated. And I hope you're managing your expectations in terms of the likelihood of getting your whole family out. Because you say you've got 3 kids, 9, 6, and 3. And it sounds like with the oldest, you're already trying to stall their baptism a little bit. Well, that's only going to be a sticking plaster solution if your wife is thinking that she needs to raise them as Jehovah's Witnesses, even if you won't. So I wonder whether there might still be difficult conversations ahead. And I say that as someone who had many difficult conversations with his wife when he was waking up and she was still a believer. It's a really painful thing to go through. And you're wondering where it might lead. You're wondering whether you might have to get a divorce. I've had to grapple with that question when I was waking up. And it sounds like there's some really thorny problems coming up ahead. And I would just suggest that you again manage your expectations and be prepared for them. So be prepared for the fact that, for example, your wife doesn't want to join you. Again, I've not seen any clear indication that she will join you. And as I've said repeatedly on other messages, we can't force other people to go on our journey with us, you know? Your wife has her own journey, and it could be that her journey eventuates with her staying in the religion. So try to prepare yourself, try to brace yourself for the possibility that things don't go as smoothly as you would like them to go. Try to brace yourself for the possibility that your family stays in the cult. Because that sounds, at least from what you've told me, that sounds like it could very well be a possibility. And it's an unpleasant possibility. But again, the more we prepare ourselves for it, the more you brace for it, you'll be in a better place if that were to happen, I guess, than it coming as a shock, than it being like this added trauma in an already traumatic situation. So I do feel for you. And by the way, I really do admire you for taking your position on child abuse and saying, look, if I hear about a case of abuse, I'm going straight to the police. I wish every elder had that position. So well done. On behalf of all of my viewers, congratulations and well done on taking that stance. You're still in a position, though, as an elder where I guess you're perpetuating, by your very position and by your very role, an organization that's misleading people. And you're also in a position where you could very well get wound up in someone's judicial committee. So you might want to think about whether it's advisable, as part of your fading process, to step down from your duties before you leave the congregation. You know, because do you really want to be in that situation where you're presiding over someone's judicial committee and deciding whether their family gets to speak to them or not? That would be an impossible situation for me as an awakened Jehovah's Witness elder. I would want to avoid that situation by whatever means, even if it meant stepping down and dealing with, you know, people looking down on me for not wanting this awesome privilege of being an elder. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that situation. So I don't know to what extent you've thought about that. And again, I don't know how smooth your plan is going to turn out to be. I particularly am concerned about whether you're going to make it out with your whole family. But I really hope you do. I really hope that I'm just being overly cautious and that things do work out for you, that you're able to reach a point in the future where you've successfully navigated all of these obstacles, you've executed your exit plan to perfection, and everything's worked out. I really hope that it works. I just also hope that no one gets hurt. I hope that you don't get hurt by having to sever relationships of any kind. And I hope that people in your congregation don't get hurt, perhaps by something that you are put in a position where you're forced to be involved in something that's quite abusive. So, yeah, I hope what I've said there is of some use to you. Could be that you've thought of all this already, of course, but sometimes maybe you just need to hear it from someone else. And again, thank you so much for calling in. It's very, very brave of you, and it's very helpful for my viewers to see just how much dissent there is among elders even. So even elders are calling in and leaving these sorts of messages. So thank you for demonstrating that. So viewers, I hope you found this interesting. Don't forget, if you would like to leave a voicemail, the thing to do is go to speakpipe.com/Cedars, remembering to indicate clearly if you don't want me to broadcast your message. But that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for watching.